And I believe it was more of revealing what a scam some of these people are doing.
Documentary goes in the bin labeled more towards satire, because I think Matt Walsh is more of a troll.
And how some of the top people in this industry are manipulating and just ripping people off. Welcome to Third Side Convo with your host, Bob Phipps. Your panelists today are Ted Johnson, Larry Haber, oh no, not that guy again, Joe Boy, and Johnny Dunn. And now, your host, Tiberius. What are you doing in his chair? What are you doing there? You're not supposed to be there. What are you doing, Bob? Wait, Bob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm up in North Carolina here for a wedding, and we're going to have some fun today. I guess continuing to talk about the movie that Joe Boy and Don Thomas and a few of our panelists went and saw called Am I Racist? By a conservative named Matt Walsh. And it's bringing up some, almost every topic we talk about on Third Side, our whole goal is let's talk about things. Let's do it without bringing up the politician's name. It is kind of vile out there now, and Ted knows history. Ted knows that it's been vile for many, many years. You go back to the days of our country being founded, things used to be vile. But boy, as far as I'm concerned, this is about as vile as it's gotten, at least in my lifetime. So what we came up with on the Third Side Convo was we're not going to talk about the politicians. We're not going to mention them by name, by deed, by word, or whatever. Now, this movie, Am I Racist? It hits some areas that probably could use some more discussion, and that's what we want to talk about today. Joe Boy, you saw both the movie and, of course, you were around. You were the producer of last week's show, and so some of y'all may have seen it on the site already. But what did not we talk about? We've had some comments since then on the site about it. What didn't we get into?
Well, okay, last week's panel happened to be all liberals, and they saw the show, and their main thing was thinking it was just a comedy like a Borat style, and of course I disagree with that greatly. They felt it was kind of just like it was a funny way of making fun of DEI, and I believe it was more of revealing what a scam some of these people are doing and how some of the top people in this industry are manipulating and just ripping people off. And he didn't make them lie or anything. He just allowed them to use their own words. And because he created an echo chamber of just agreeing with whatever they said, they kept talking and talking and talking and just proved that what they're really trying to do is just very divisive and just going to destroy what we are building here as a country.
Okay, well, cool. Well, that's good opening thoughts. Ted, apparently this movie is not being shown in San Francisco. Is that true, or at least anywhere in the Bay Area?
The Bay Area. It was shown for a week and a half. It was here for a week and a half. I just never saw it. By the time I had to go see it, it was gone, and I can't. Gotcha. I haven't found it on streaming. So I do know a lot about it. However, through research, I think this documentary goes in the bin labeled more towards satire, because I think Matt Walsh is more of a troll than anything. His comments on transgender women, for example, is just that. He just wants to create excitement about his statements and a brouhaha. I think he went in it specifically to, I don't know, not, as Joe Boy said, bring people out in their inherent preconceived ideas about him and other things in the world. And I can say this, that in 1969, a very, very similar thing was done. On the other side, great movie by Robert Downey Sr. called Putney Swope. It's exactly the reverse type of thing that shows racism in a completely different angle. So congratulations to Matt. He's created a lot of excitement.
Okay, Ted, that's good opening thoughts. We're going to hopefully get into some of the things that he actually said. Larry, what's your opening thoughts? You've seen a little bit about this. You didn't go with us to the movie. I think you were out of town. So tell me about your thoughts on this movie.
I think that it's more comparable to Borat, quite frankly. And Borat made fun of all of the conservative side of things. There was some very heavy stuff in Borat, including a scene at a bar where they were singing about the Jews. So I think you can do satire and do this very, very well. I took Borat for exactly what it was, getting people off guard. And I don't think, as opposed to Ted, that this is something that is just a satire. I think this really brings out the differences that we've been discussing on this show.
Okay, so we'll get into some of those differences. Johnny, good to see you today.
It's great to be here.
Yeah. What was the big deal? What was it, Johnny?
Well, look, I tried to see it as you requested. Not playing over here. I live in a pretty blue city as well. I did, as you requested, watch as many clips on YouTube as I could. My nephew is a professor as well. And I said, hey, let's talk about it. What are the top 3 points of the movie? And I very much see eye to eye with Dr. Ben. And his 3 points were racism absolutely doesn't exist. Does exist, but it exists both ways, and the left uses it as a divisive tactic and to make a ton of money off political fundraising and DEI. And I agree with Ben, there is not one study out there that shows DEI creates more inclusivity, and furthermore, people want to get a job to have a job and earn money. They don't want this BS pushed on them at work. Work is not the place to work these things out, and it's idiotic at best to think otherwise.
Well, good start. I mean, certainly, as you said, there hasn't been a lot of long-term studies on it. Right now, we're still in a cycle. There are many companies that started it. I've heard Toyota, some other companies are backing away from it. Ted, you okay? Just a sinus headache or what? You all right?
Studies, yeah. Study just got started, Johnny. Jesus, studies. Yeah. Okay.
I know.
Keep going, Bob.
Well, normally y'all do this stuff in emails back and forth, so let's try to be civil. What specific parts? Give me something specific you make, because Ted's really the only true liberal on the panel tonight. So, at what specific thing, Johnny, would you like to ask Ted whether he has an issue with? Is there something specific?
Okay, here's my question to Ted. And Ted, I really do love you, and every time I get the Ted emails, I get a smile on my face, and you have opened my eyes to some things. But how can we dissolve discrimination with more discrimination?
You think something like this shows the discrimination both sides? Or you think that questioning Google, am I a racist, is the best way to find out if you're racist? I mean, how does this movie answer the question, what can I do to end racism? Well, did this movie do that?
Well, I liked Morgan Freeman's 60 Minutes piece, as I am not an African-American male, so I've not experienced it, admittedly. But I always go with what Mr. Morgan Freeman said. Here's the best way to end racism. Stop talking about it. And then, of course, I also love Thomas Sowell. What a great economist he is. Racism isn't dead. This is a direct quote, but it's on life support, and it's kept alive by politicians, race hustlers, and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as racists.
Okay, well, let's back up. Listen, one of the funny things is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this movie up, and we've got both Joe Boy and Larry just going nuts watching the two of y'all together, but wherever on a podcast can, what I think it looks like 5 white guys actually talk about racism. I don't think it's even allowed. But if we talk about this movie, if you go specifically to the movie, did y'all see the scene, like, for example, the dinner party that is being hosted by those people? Okay. So you've got a dinner party that's being hosted. Did you hear some of the things actually said? What specifically was said that you'd like to talk about? Was there anything there?
Yeah,
I want to go to Joe Boy now, but we got Johnny here, so that's okay. Johnny, go.
Yeah, there was the one lady who was really bombastic, and she's like, all white people are horrible, all conservatives are horrible, They're all Adolf Hitlers. I think she used the word, they're all Nazis. And like, you know, I always learn from Andy Andrews, famous author, don't even have discussions with crazy people because they're going to beat you on experience every single time. Those people don't even want to have a discussion.
Hey, Joe Boy, let's get you back into this. Let's see if you can have something specific that we've got Ted in here for a reason. So
okay,
Ted doesn't have a problem with what Johnny said. Joe Boy.
I'm going to tell you something, Bob. I had a hard time with one of the scenes, and it was near the end when he made a mock DEI class, which, by the way, people paid to be a part of. He just wanted to see how far people would go before they realized this is stupid and walk out. And one of the things he did is he took his Uncle Ben in a wheelchair and wheeled him up in front of the class and said, "You told me a racist joke 20 years ago, and I never stood up to you about it now, and you're a bad man." And he curses at him, flicks him off, and says a slur to him. And everyone else in the class joins in and starts cussing this guy out. Now, for me, that just shows this mob mentality where it's only tolerant unless everyone else is doing it too. And all of a sudden, everyone's cussing this guy in a wheelchair out. Now, you can all say it was fake and this and that. It wasn't. These were real people that were there. They were that manipulated. They are believing so badly that in order to cure our whiteness, our guilt of being white, which, by the way, we don't have to apologize for being white. It's not a bad thing. I didn't do stuff a bunch of years ago. It wasn't me. My family wasn't even America at the time. But you know what? We want to apologize for everything, you know? And when the Berlin Wall came down, I don't think all of them were apologizing for everything Hitler did. I mean, come on. And now we're being compared to Hitler, right? So
Mike, we need to get Larry into this.
Yo, boy, that's such a false equivalency. That's
what the girl said. He said Republicans were Nazis. That's what they said. And these are the top people that teach this stuff.
It's not about the wall. And Germany has, in the last 40 years, has done everything to eradicate the effects of Nazism, and the comments and how many mistakes they made in letting him come to power. That's already been done. That's ancient history.
No, it's true. They take it very seriously over there in Germany, don't they? You know, they have all sorts of hate laws against anything.
Yeah, the right wings are rising up again.
Right.
No, it's the left fascist.
Oh, the left extreme, yeah.
Larry.
First off, DEI. Does everybody know what DEI stands for?
We'd like to know.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I have no problems with diversity. I have no problems with inclusivity. I have a problem with equity, which basically defines it as everybody needs to be leveled up, whether they have the ability to do the job or not. I would like to change the definition of DEI to diversity, equality, and inclusiveness. And I think that will take a lot of what we've been fighting about away, including the discussions we have here.
Ted's covering his face, so I don't think he necessarily agrees with you. He seems to be, and I don't like this equity stuff. I'm sorry, not everyone's guaranteed the same result just because they get the same opportunity.
Or the same, they produce the same quality work, but then they get paid less, like women. That's not equity.
No, equity is getting the same result no matter what.
Yeah, they get the same result, but they're paid 65%, 35% less. That's not equity?
No, it isn't, Ted. Look it up.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Maybe you're right, Larry. Equality.
Equity, as we're talking about, is if I'm at a level and you're at a level, and it makes sense for a black person to make the 13% of the population, then that person gets elevated up so that everybody has an equal level in terms of their race in this country. That is what has been causing the problem. And because there's a difference between equity and equality, a huge difference, people don't know the difference, and they don't know to argue the difference.
I disagree.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'll just say this: when it comes to work, quality of work, the companies I work for, one of the best people. They wanted the best people all the time, from all over the world. China, Saudi Arabia, it didn't matter. And so they didn't go looking for 13 African Americans out of 100. They looked for the best people, period. Now, through equity, a lot of it happened to be where I worked was people from India and Pakistan, as well as Vietnam and China. So did they try to make everything equal? No, they just went and got the best people. That's the equity I'm talking about.
You're not a fan of DEI then, Ted?
No, I'm a fan of practice now. I'm a fan of meritocracy. You bet.
You're not
There
a
you
fan
go.
of DEI as it's
Well,
defined by the
I read it
Democrats?
wrong. Because a
I
lot of people
agree
don't
with
get
Ted
the
on that,
chance.
by the way. Meritocracy is the way to go.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Johnny.
Common ground,
Ted,
we did it.
Johnny, agree.
Bob,
Yeah, it
I'm
seems
going to
that
go ahead and
DEI
jump
is a
in
little bit
and say
against
we
meritocracy.
probably need to go commercial. Bob, you want to call us out to commercial?
Well, let's call us out to commercial, but I'm here in North Carolina, and all I'm staring at is Johnny Dunn on my screen here. I can't see the timers. I can't see anything, but that's what's fun about this show. You know, subscribe on Facebook if you haven't already. Go on to Third Side YouTube, Third Side Convo. You know, we're just having a blast here, but this is just, let's go on and go for our break. Let's do it now.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad, my computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810. The Tibia Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator bites. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now. Get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com.
All right, we're back. You know, Ted, what I was going to say and what I've seen about what DEI means versus meritocracy is there was a study that I saw, and I'll have to try to get this to you because I know you like facts and things, but they were looking at the amount of people, the people that are hired in the Fortune 500 companies, like over the last 5 years, and it was only like 3% of them were white males. Now, we have a preponderance of white males on this show right now. So that means probably nobody's going to watch it or think we should have the ability to talk. But I'm sorry, but that can't be meritocracy. DEI is looking for diversity first. I don't know. Meritocracy is not in there, not in the definition.
Bob, do you ever consider the fact that more American males are less college educated, that, especially compared to females, that less American males have dropped out? I mean, they're slower in high school. They're slower in grade school.
Not Ted, it's not 3%. Okay, look, I'm the moderator. I don't want one of y'all's got to pick up this, mantra here. We're doing a little weird. I'm in North Carolina. I'm only looking at Johnny. Looking at Johnny all day will throw you off, Ted. You understand that, right? I start getting inside that mind of Johnny and Jonja and all this other stuff. I'm just saying that DEI is not about meritocracy. It is specifically now. Does it want good people? Of course it does. Of course it does.
Bob, what triggers people is unfairness, one way or another. Okay. Ultimately, it's about unfairness. Ted, our beautiful foil on the left, is even in favor of meritocracy. Great. We're all for an agreement at this point in time. The problem is that the people running things and the people making decisions at companies are being blasted for not having the divisiveness that having people in positions when they're not qualified. And that causes people to get very upset. I saw this back in the 1970s in college. This isn't new. This is the same thing. It's been going on forever. It's just amplified now by social media. And right. Ted, I appreciate you putting your hand over your eyes, but let's talk equity versus equality. That's what it comes down to.
Larry, talk about experience other than your own practice. Talk about what most people work in a group business. Okay. Talk about that. That wasn't 40, 50 years ago.
It sure was.
Yes, it was. Yeah. You don't think it's changed. Okay. Back to the movie. Going on
forever.
Back to the movie. Here's one thing I want to think about. I think as I think more about Matt Walsh and what he was trying to do, reminds me of what Jordan Klepper does when he goes to the MAGA rallies. Jordan Klepper works on The Daily Show. And he asks questions of MAGA supporters, things like, why do you think Obama reacted the way he did when 9/11 hit? And people go, I don't know. Yeah, we should look into that.
All right. I'm going to have to kick you on that one, Ted. Ted, what did you actually get to hear what some of these people said?
Yes,
In other
I
words,
did. I did saw the inclusion. I saw the dinner. I saw the Nazi comment.
right.
I saw the man bun. Yes, all that.
Right. And then,
Okay,
but the dinner, for example, the gals there that were running that dinner was talking about how the U.S. is a horrible country. I mean,
Yes.
And who else talks about being in a horrible country on the campaign trail?
Okay.
Who else does that? And the enemy within. Who does that?
No,
guys, we got to get back to the movie
It was
part.
a horrible country.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
boy, this
country
one
that's
is.
not optimized.
It is the patriarchy doing it, which means we have to bring in a whole bunch of people that may or may not be qualified for the particular job they're looking for, just because we want to be inclusive and diverse. And that is what has been getting us in trouble for years and years and years. Meritocracy should come first, period.
Okay, guys.
Larry Haber for president.
Okay, part of this, guys, you got to understand is he went in there. He didn't ask them questions to bait them in. He asked them to say what they felt. And I'm here for my journey so I can learn how to be better. Tell me what it is. And they told him. And he says, okay, I agree. That's all he did, is just agree with whatever they said. And guys, this is real important, okay? You got to realize when you're just agreeing, you're getting the echo chamber. And they are unfiltered. They're just saying what they actually believe. I mean, one lady said that she's so upset because her child likes the white Disney princesses and she doesn't like the black ones. He goes, oh, well, mine likes Mulan. Oh, okay, well, that's good. I agree. That's great. I'm glad your children like the black princess. Yeah, except for Halloween. She wants to dress as one and she can't because that would be cultural appropriation. Well, yeah, you're right. You should want to be a black princess, but you're not allowed to be because that would be wrong. You're losing no matter what. This is what people believe. And these are people that are paid to teach people about DEI. It's not a far right or far left person. These are the top people that teach it.
How do you know that? How do you know it's not the far left? It's not the extreme. How do you know that?
Do you really think that companies like Amazon, Facebook,
Johnson,
TikTok are going to hire the dumbest people in the world or the best people?
The best people.
Okay, these are the ones they hire. That's what he went for. He went for the people that are hired by large companies. He didn't go for some random people that no one knows about. He went to the well-known people that are making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per event.
What companies do these people work for?
He lists a whole bunch of them. TikTok, Twitter, American Express. Those are kind of big companies. Facebook. So, Angelo is pretty well known as the top person when it comes to white guilt. And people are just, they need to apologize. But the answer doesn't come out. It doesn't say how to be less racist. It's just, yep, you happen to be a racist and give me your money.
Who's Angelo?
Robin DiAngelo is the one that wrote White Fragility. She's the one that's making, she's the one, she was paid $15,000 to be there. The couple that did the dinners, they've been doing this for a couple of years. I'm just saying, it is an industry that is set up. The question is it good? Is it positive? And I think there's some downside to it. That's what I was wanting to talk about. I know we're getting all over the damn place. Joe Boy, do we need another break right now? And then we're going to try to figure out how to bring this one home.
You know what? Why not, Bob? Why don't you go ahead and close us out for a break?
Let's close this out for a break. And dadgummit, let's add to those subscribers. We're having fun. And check out the rest of we've got shorts on there. We've got all sorts of stuff. Ted's on there actually making sense on some other stuff. And the same thing about Johnny Dunn. He's on there. Larry's on there. Go check us out. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun gun range, great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
All right, welcome back. Boy, this is disjointed. It's so funny when we went into this today, we didn't know who was going to be on the show. And all we wanted to know was, dadgummit, we can talk about anything. Now, the DEI thing, I think Ted's even coming along a little bit that I don't know. You understand that meritocracy is perfect, but it's what we should be going for. And everybody wants diversity. We all love diversity. Who doesn't love diversity? But diversity also includes opinions and ideas. And certainly we know that we don't always have diversity through all areas, do we? Just on opinion. Johnny, you're looking like you're ready to talk. When is diversity good, and when is diversity for diversity's sake not good? Does that make sense?
That didn't really make sense to me, but I don't have the super high IQ, but I mean, so you'll have to rephrase it.
Well, maybe it was a little bit of a...
Okay, I'll answer that a little bit. I think I can answer that. One of my favorite books of all time is called Team of Rivals. And it was about Abraham Lincoln's childhood and then his rise into the presidency and ultimately his assassination. And one of the things that very few people know about Abe that made him such a great president is he filled his cabinet with people who ran against him because he wanted to have a diversity of opinions because it was the only way to move the country forward. And if you surround yourself with yes men, no one really ever moves forward in that. But when does it turn bad? Well, DEI, which really stands for didn't earn it. And then you have all these grifters trying to make money off of it, which is all it is, like the lady you mentioned. That's how things go bad. But diversity of thought is always a great thing. And I'll tell you how I solved any inherent biases I might have. Joe Boy loves this drill. I wrote out what I want to be remembered for when I'm dead. And there are 10 qualities. And on those 10 qualities to every single person that comes my way, no matter who they are. And boom, the problem was solved.
Thank you. Larry, what is this?
I have a quick question for Ted.
Yeah.
What about DEI in sports? Black Americans are very much overrepresented in sports compared to their 13% of the population. So why aren't we doing the same in sports that everybody's demanding of everywhere else?
Because everybody wants the best athletes.
Why shouldn't that be the same case? Why shouldn't that be the same case across the board? Business?
I think it is, right? What I look at is, I never saw anybody who was not in a position of power having not earned it, whether they were Indian or African-American or Hispanic. Everybody I've talked to was very confident.
I know, but the party and the side that you represent makes a big deal.
That's not true. That's not true. No.
Okay.
No, that's not true.
Johnny, this is yours.
Yeah.
I actually think this is the most common ground we've ever had on a Third Side episode, and I'm glad it was disjointed because Ted really seems to agree with us in a lot. And as a person who founded a company out of a back bedroom with $0, and the CEO is a female, by the way, Ted, who's paid very, very well. Hell, she's paid better than me, and I'm the founder. And all I know is this. I want the best people on my team. Somebody even wanted to show me their resume. And I go, I really don't care about that. Are you the kindest human being I've ever met? And if you're of that kind, you're going to be great on this team because that's what the world really needs.
Okay, so the DEI, I'm just going to get back to it one time. The DEI people were trying to say we are a horrible, horrible, horrible country. Go around the board, 30 seconds. Larry, start with you. Are we a horrible country?
Of course not. We're the best country in the world. Take a look at the cover of the latest issue of The Economist, which basically says U.S. and economy, the envy of the world. And if you take the big picture of who we are and what we do, we are the driver of everything that goes on in this world, and we will continue to do so. And I want to make sure that that continues because I believe in this country, and I want people that are running things based on meritocracy.
Sounds good. Joe Boy, are we the horrible country?
Absolutely not. And I agree that the best way to solve race relations is to be colorblind and stop talking about race. It's about the quality of your character and what you produce. It has nothing at all to do with the color of your skin.
It certainly shouldn't. Okay, Larry. Excuse me, you already did Larry. Johnny, you haven't weighed in on this horrible country.
I think that people need to really, I hope this becomes a short. This is an imperfect country. And how do I know it's an imperfect country? Because Bob Phipps, Larry Haber's in it, Ted's in it, and Joe Boy's in it. And what are all of us? We are imperfect people. So before people go around saying it needs to be a perfect country, they need to remember the country is made up of imperfect people, and it's okay.
But
yeah,
before,
right.
before you get anywhere, Bob, hold on. Wisdom of the Crowds, next big book.
Ted didn't get talked. Ted gets to talk.
I know. I'm trying to go to Ted next. Ted, are we a horrible country?
No, democracy is an experiment. It's at the precipice. The very serious issues are coming up. Definitely. Existential, from climate to voting. Okay. Again, I'll go back to what I said, the first comment. What did this documentary do to help end racism? That's my question.
It allowed us to maybe talk about it for a show, not that it does anything, but actually that was part of it. It actually allowed us. I've stayed away from this topic, guys. Come on now. I know I'm a white guy. I can't talk about it.
The point was to show that DEI doesn't solve racism. It just keeps it going. That's the point. And Ted showed it. You're right. It doesn't solve racism. It just keeps it going. And they make money while doing it.
All right. We're going to have to end this show because I think we're past our time. And I am so happy that Ted was on this show. The points were made. I love Larry's concept of the sports. That could have been brought up a lot earlier. Oh, my gosh, Miss Agnes. You know, whatever it is, we're talking. And we're going to talk again on the Third Side Convo. We aren't always going to get it right, but we're real people and we're just having fun. Thank you much, and we'll be with you at another time with Third Side Convo.